This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, I'm Steve Fromme, Executive Director of the Better Business Bureau Educational Foundation of Eastern North Carolina. I appreciate you joining me today to participate in SCAMBUSTERS Remote. Because of time considerations and the fact that we're not all gathered together in the same room, we're forced to slightly alter the content and format from in-person SCAMBUSTERS presentations. When we meet in person, we divide the group into teams. SCAMBUSTERS is a game during which we present offers to one team at a time, and they are asked to discuss aloud their thoughts about the offer before deciding whether it is legitimate or a scam. For correct answers, the team is given the 6-inch foam dice pictured here and throw them, sometimes at me, or wherever else they please, for points for the round. When we finish, the prize is given to the team with the most points. Sorry, the SCAMBUSTERS Remote, you'll have to decide on your own what you think about the legitimacy of each offer. And please, no throwing anything at me. I will not be held responsible for broken screens. When each new offer appears, I'll give you a bit of time to read it, think about it, and make your decision as to whether you think it's a scam or a legitimate offer. Then I'll reveal if it's a scam or not and the clues leading to the right decision. Next, I hope you'll be honest as to whether you had the right answer or not. Since we are unable to have those of you who answered correctly throw the dice, I've done it for you. In fact, I threw a dice 6 times after each offer in the presentation and hid the results behind different colored boxes. Before moving from one offer to the next, you'll be shown the boxes and given a few seconds to choose a color. Then I'll reveal the number hiding in each box. Please keep your own score. Also, for each right answer you get, add 1 point to the number on the dice. Okay, move along. Hopefully, many of you are already familiar with Better Business Bureau. BBB is a nonprofit agency that has been protecting the marketplace on behalf of both businesses and consumers for over 100 years. One of BBB's important services is providing protection against scams by educating people about them. This is tremendously important because scams are a huge problem. It's estimated that in the US alone, over 50 billion, that billion with a B, $50 billion is lost annually to scams. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but it's such an astonishingly large number. Most of us can't even get our arms around it. It might help put it in perspective if you think about the total annual sales in the US of a pretty large company, Coca-Cola. Now, add to that the sales of McDonald's. Burgers, fries, drinks, breakfast, and everything else included. When you add the sales of both these giant companies together, you have about $50 billion. I think we can all agree that scams make up a huge industry. More than likely, many of you are thinking, sure, there are tons of scams, but I wouldn't fall for one. I bet if I could see a show of hands, most of you would believe that the elderly are the ones most often scammed. In truth, the group most often targeted and losing the most total dollars are 18 to 24-year-olds. Just a couple of years ago, during the first 2 weeks of class at a nearby major university, 10 students admitted to having lost $58,000 to scams. Imagine how many more students also lost money but were too embarrassed to come forward and admit it. The students received a phone call. They did the proper thing and checked the caller ID, where they saw the incoming call was from their campus police. That would get my stomach doing flips, and I would answer the call. Campus police proceeded to convince the students that the IRS was having them arrested that afternoon, which, of course, would result in their expulsion from school as well. The quote unquote campus police played the good guys, trying to help the students, but they emphasize the urgency of the situation. Scammers like to create fear and a sense of urgency, making you act immediately before clearing your head and thinking rationally about the situation, or having the chance to consult friends, family, the internet, etc. This scammer was so convincing that the students were afraid to hang up the phone and finally were talked into driving to an IRS office while still on the phone. Then stopping on the way and buying large dollar amount gift cards. As soon as they read the gift card numbers to the scammer once they were back in the car, this money was gone. Of course, this is exactly what scammers want. You paid in ways that are unrecoverable. Gift cards, debit cards, cash is always king. Wiring money from one account to another. The safest way to pay for anything is with a credit card. If you dispute a transaction, your credit card provider will usually investigate it, try to recover the money, and if unable to do so, absorb the expense themselves. Remember, scammers want to create fear and a sense of urgency. It might sound crazy, but believe me, scams can and do happen to people like you and people like me. And yet, there are surprisingly few arrests involved in scam cases. The main reason is that most of the scammers are overseas. Therefore, the best defense against scams is knowledge. Knowledge about them. That is a service provided by BBB. One way in which BBB helps spread the word about scams is with the website you now see on your screen, bbb.org/scamtracker. Scam Tracker includes a heat map on which you can search for scams in any location. Our slide shows the amount of activity in Raleigh and eastern North Carolina. Below the map, go down there, you'll find the date the scam was reported, the type of scam, the zip code where it occurred, amount, if any, of money lost. Here you see a person lost $7,000 to a moving scam. And finally, you can click under the details to view an explanation of how the scam was presented. If any of you fall prey to a scam or just hear about one without losing any money yourself, we encourage you to log in to bbb.org/scamtracker and report it. But also report it anywhere else you think would be valuable, to the police or sheriff's department, the attorney general's office, news media, friends and family, etc. Getting the word out will help prevent losses to the scam. All right, enough talking. Let's play Scambusters. Here is your first offer. You receive this email from Apple saying that your Apple Music account has been suspended. Please read it and make note of anything that leads you to believe either that it is real or fake. I'll give you a moment to review it. After you've read through it carefully, I want you to think about it. Is this a scam or is it legitimate? And place your vote to yourself. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to go through it. Since this is the first slide, we like to cheat a little and help show you indicators that this is actually a scam. So those of you who voted that this is a scam got this right. Hopefully you already found many of these and maybe some others on your own. Check the address sending the email up at the top here. A legitimate Apple Music offer would come from an Apple email address. This is not one. Line 1 under the Dear Apple Music customer, the letter refers to Apple Music. If it were truly from Apple, it would be consistent with all their documentation, and the M would be capitalized in music. So Apple Music with a capital A and capital M. Certainly, we can all agree Apple can afford proofreaders and would be sure to spell their own product name correctly. Line 3 of the letter says suspension will, and there's no separation between the two words. Again, many of the scams originate overseas, leading to poor grammar or poor spelling. So what is it that scammers want? Scammers do not communicate with you simply to keep you busy. They want you to do something. Typically, the desired call to action is one of three things. What do scammers want from you? They want your money, or they want your information, or as is the case here, they want you to click on a link and be taken to a website where, guess what? They'll either ask you for money, information, or maybe infect you with malware. One of the most important lessons you will learn in ScamBusters is this. Before ever clicking on a link, do what I'm doing now. Hover your cursor over that link. The actual address to which that link will take you will pop up. You might be told by clicking on a link you'll be taken to the safest, happiest place in the world. But guess what? Scammers lie. Always, I repeat, always check to see where the link will redirect you before clicking on it. Okay, so those of you who said this was a scam, now pick a color and I will reveal the dice roll that is behind each of the colors. Are you ready? All right, now each of you is responsible to keep your own score, so no cheating, you'll only be scamming yourself. All right, ready for the next slide. So I'm sure many of you watch shows on Netflix, especially now with being home so much. Let's say you're watching a show or calling up something on Netflix on your computer, and this message pops onto your screen. What are you going to do? While you're reviewing it, let me point out that in the upper right-hand corner here, and down in the lower left, it says in both places, secure server, and has a padlock. And also I think it's pretty clear, but I'll zoom in anyway so you can get a closer look at the URL. Okay, so there's back to the entire slide. I'll let you think about it for a moment. And if you will cast your vote, if this is a scam and you don't want to fill in the material, or if you think it's legitimate and you're going to validate your payment information. Okay, ready? This is a scam. Despite it saying in two places that it is a secure server and displaying the padlock, for it really to be a secure server, the URL on top, move to that again, it has to have an S, where S is for secure. So that would say HTTPS. Furthermore, the padlock that appears in two different places should be just to the left of the HTTPS in the URL up here. Once you get below the URL, and I'll go back out, from here down to the bottom, anything can be cut and pasted. In fact, I cut and pasted the secure server and padlock in both places it appears. If we were in one of our live presentations right now, my cohort who presents with me would likely say, yeah, and if Steve can do it, anyone can do it. So in this case, you would absolutely not want to put in your card number or any of your information here. This is a scam. If you receive communication from a company with whom you have an account, whether it's Netflix, Apple, your bank, whoever, it's always safest to log into your account by the normal means rather than responding directly through a communication whose origin you do not know. All right, let's see. For those of you who recognize this as a scam, pick a color, and I'll show you your points for the round. Are you ready? Here you go. Some high scores there. I hope you got one. Okay, we'll move along. You're doing some gift shopping in Michael's and find an item you would like to buy, but it costs a bit more than you had hoped to spend. You use your phone to search for a coupon and find this e-coupon. What do you think? I'll give you a moment to think about it, and you can read the fine print on either side. I think it's not so fine that you can't read it. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to review it, and I'll give you one more moment now to cast your vote if this is a scam or a legitimate coupon. What did we say the call to action of scammers is? We said they want you to send money or information, or maybe sometimes click on a link. Is this asking, this certainly is not, there's no link here to click on. Is this asking for information? No. What about money? No. It's just offering a 50% discount on a purchase. The worst thing that can happen if it is not a valid coupon is when you try to use it for your purchase, you're told by the cashier the coupon is unacceptable. Then you can choose to pay full price, not buy the item, or look for another coupon. So it so happens this coupon was legitimate. So here are our colors. Those of you who recognize that as legitimate, did not think it was a scam, pick a color. Ready? Okay, keeping those scoring totals, I hope. Okay, moving along. How many of you have Instagram accounts? I'm guessing most of you. Let's say you're at a friend's home and they just brought home a new puppy. And I'm going to advance the slide now. They're so excited they decide they want to set up an Instagram account for the dog. While they're busy taking pictures, you volunteer to go onto their computer and start the account. You Google Instagram and log into the site that shows up here on our slide. Take a look at this and decide what you would do. While you're thinking about it, I'll zoom into the URL that you see does have the HTTPS and padlock. Go back out. All right, I hope you've had a chance to decide. So cast your vote, scam or legitimate. And now I will let you know that this might be our sneakiest slide. This is a scam. If you look closely at the URL, and I'll zoom back into that, you'll notice that it looks just like the real Instagram URL. However, if you look closer, you'll notice that the two A's in Instagram are not the same. In fact, the second one, although it looks like an A, is actually the Greek alpha symbol. Earlier, I said that scammers lie. It so happens that they are also sneaky. You just have to be very, very careful whenever you're on the internet. And if we go back, this is the actual Instagram homepage you would see when you log in. So this was really tough to to figure out. And the fact that it was a secure website is especially upsetting because for several years we were taught you were safe if you went onto a secure site. What has happened? When secure websites first came into being, there were only a handful of companies able to provide them. These companies and their employees were carefully vetted. Now, there are hundreds of companies with the capability of providing secure websites. Some of those companies, or at least some of their employees, are not so trustworthy, and this is a tremendous problem. Even on secure sites, you need to pay attention and be careful. So, I hope some of you were able to figure out that this was a scam, and those of you who did, choose a color. Are you ready? Okay. We'll go on now to round 2. So you receive a text with this gift card coupon to Starbucks. What do you think? I'll let you look it over for a moment. Saying Starbucks is apologizing for closing their stores because of the pandemic, and so you can get this $100 coupon for when they reopen, $100 gift card. Okay, cast your vote, please. And if it sounds too good to be true, guess what? It's probably too good to be true. This is a scam. The sudden changes brought on by the coronavirus pandemic brought scammers out of the woodwork. In order to collect this gift card, personal information would first have to be revealed, most likely, or you might be asked to send a nominal amount of money, like $10 for processing, before the $100 card is sent. But of course, there is no card, and it would never be sent. So those of you who thought this was a scam are correct. Pick a color. Are you ready? Okay. All right, next slide. We see an email from Amazon saying that an item is being shipped to you and you can track the package by clicking on the link. What should you do? Do you think this is a scam, or do you think it is real, legitimate? See up here the email address. Looks like an actual Amazon.com email. Give you a moment longer. And now please cast your vote. So the next step would be to do what we said in the past. Hover over the link. Now I don't have where this goes, but I can tell you that it was to a legitimate site. So then you would be fine clicking on that link if you wanted to track the package. This is legitimate. So those of you who thought it was real, pick a color. Ready? Here we are. Here we go. Okay. And add the scores to your total, and we'll move to the next slide. You receive an email from Apple saying that the billing address has been changed in your account settings. If you did not make that change, a link to a secure website, which you see here, https appleid.apple.com, is provided. What do you think? And I'll give you a minute to read the whole thing again if you want. And now please cast your vote. Scam or legitimate? Okay. On the first offer you were shown today, what did I say was one of the most important things you would be told? Hover your cursor over a link before clicking on it. I'm going to advance this and show what happens when you hover your cursor over this link. We were told that it was going to a secure Apple site, but is it? No. Like I said, scammers lie. It's not only not going to a secure site, it's not going to Apple. Also, at the top here where it says who the email is coming from, it says Apple, but does not show the actual email address. By hovering over that Apple or who it says sent it with your cursor, you can show the actual email address from which it was sent, that generated the email. And here you see, it looks like it is Apple ID, id.apple.com. Oh no, wait a minute. It's not. It's not Apple ID. That says Apple applied. And this does not say id.apple.com because the M is missing. This is another trick of scammers. They often use email addresses or websites that are very close to the real thing. They count on our mind and our eyes to play tricks on us, reading things the way we're used to seeing them. Another great example of this was our earlier Instagram slide. In case anyone has a doubt at this point, this slide was a scam. Okay, before we do the scoring for this, I want to show you one other thing. This sign shows how easy it is to fall for the scammer's trick we just talked about of using similar to the real websites and email addresses. I bet I've read this 50 times and gotten it wrong 49. Okay, for those of you who said that last email from Apple, supposedly from Apple, was a scam, pick a color. And ready? Okay. All right. We'll move to the next slide. We see from Target Careers. Many of us receive job offers via email. They're typically for unskilled positions, which makes sense since these offers being sent sight unseen to a large segment of the population. One common job that is offered is as a secret shopper. Many large stores employ secret shoppers to shop in their stores while keeping the other employees unaware of their existence. The secret shopper's function is to make certain employees are performing up to the company's expectations. After accepting a position as a secret shopper, you receive the letter that is now on the screen, as well as a check made out to you for $2,800, $2,800. It explains that you are to cash the check, keeping $400 as your payment. With the remainder, you're to shop for eBay gift cards of various denominations. When finished, email your employer with the details of which store you visited, the cashier who assisted you, proof that you purchased the gift cards in the form of the numbers from their backs so that your employer knows you didn't really just pocket the money, and other specifics explaining whether it was a satisfactory shopping experience or not. What would you do? Let you think about that for a moment. While you're thinking, for those of you hesitating to proceed, remember you already received a check for $2,800 and cashed it. So I guess you're shopping with your employer's money. What could go wrong? And go ahead and vote whether you think it's legitimate or a scam now. Okay, and I just asked what could go wrong. The employment scam has been the most common scam around for a couple of years. The answer to what can go wrong is that the check can, make that will bounce. Until the check clears the bank on which it was drawn, this is simply a pending transaction, even though you got money from the teller. If the check bounces, your bank will hold you liable to return the funds. If you already purchased gift cards and sent the scammer their numbers, that money is not recoverable. You'll have to find another way to repay the bank. Again, if it sounds too good to, if it sounds too good to be true, most likely is. Be careful. Okay, since I just stuttered over that last, if it sounds too good to be true, I think this is a good stopping place for us. I'd like to quickly review some of the important points we mentioned. Well, actually, before we stop, I have to let you roll for the last time. So those of you who recognize the employment scam, pick a color. Sorry about that. I almost scammed you out of your points for the last round. Okay, you ready? Oh, and there were some high scores there too. All right. So now if you'll total your scores, again, with all the totals from what you rolled, plus 1 point for each right answer. And hold on to those totals for a minute. And like I said, I'd like to review some of the warning signs of typical scams. Scammers do try to create a sense of urgency, fear. They request immediate payment, but by methods that are unrecoverable, like cash, gift cards, wired funds, or money orders, and request sensitive personal information, social security number, credit and debit card number, passwords, even seemingly innocuous information like your name, address, date of birth, color of your first car, mother's maiden name, etc. All that should be protected. With basic information and silly things like the color of your first car or your mother's maiden name, those really might not be so silly. They could be answers to security questions. And with all this information, accounts can be breached. Remember, for a website to be secure, the URL must begin with HTTPS, where the S stands for secure. The padlock should appear to the left of the URL, and the entire address bar might be in green. A few other things to remember. Read URLs very carefully. Scammers will try to lure you onto unsafe sites by using websites and emails that are very similar to actual trusted ones. Bad spelling and poor grammar are very common in scams originating overseas. You should never have to pay upfront costs to claim a prize or submit a scholarship or grant application. And I'll emphasize this one more time because it's so important. Never click on a link without first checking to see where it will take you. Hover your cursor over the link to show where it will really go. Remember, knowledge is the best defense against scams. Help protect people from scams by reporting them. bbb.org/scam tracker to the local police or sheriff's department, the state attorney general's office, Federal Trade Commission, news media, friends and family, and anywhere else that comes to mind. Okay, now with your total scores, I'd say anyone with a final total of 25 or higher, I think you can now call yourself a scam buster. If you didn't quite make it, feel free to play again. Thanks to everyone for participating in Scam Busters Remote. Stay safe.